go.
Shalom, Israel. How about Shemer Shah, brother Thon, to my brothers? Yahweh Shemal Thon by Shemer Shah to my sisters. Closer. Check. Better. I like this better. All right. Once again, Yahweh Shemer Shah, brother Thon, my brothers. Yahweh Shemal Thon by Shemer Shah to my sisters. Welcome. It is Tuesday. The class, Brotherhood class for the I.S.U.P.K, Israelite School Universal Practical Knowledge. Start our 1 West 125th Street, Hall, New York, under commanding Jerry Yahanna. Most High in Christ. We got anybody on the conference call with us tonight? No sweat. Really, I got my brother Deshaun with me. Just waiting on him. No sweat. In the meantime, between time, tonight, let's talk. Tonight, we got work to do, Israel. We got work. All right? We look at the news. We see what's going on in the earth. There is a lot of work that has to be done. All right? Spiritually, there's a lot of work that has to be done pertaining to all blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. There is work to be done emotionally. There's work to be done physically. All right? Like I said, we see in the news. The most recent thing is on the split between the Methodist Church. The Methodist Church, and how they are, what are they, they're split on, they're debating whether homosexuality is correct.
Yeah, like
whether it's right. Go ahead.
Or Flocky, like one of those denominations, I think it's Methodist Church. They're allowing homosexual pastors.
Yeah, about having homosexual pastors. We have a lot of work to be done. All right. And a lot of that work is due to Christianity. All right? Christianity has set blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, should I say hundreds of years, or maybe even thousands of years. Which one is it? All right, well, we have been set back by Christianity, okay? We have been set back because Christianity today has split blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians. It has separated them. It has separated us from from our Most High power, from our Most High God. That's what Christianity has done. All right, we're going to talk about that in today's Brotherhood class, because not only has it split us from the Most High, Christianity has divided us as a people. Okay, you hear blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians. You know, we're supposed to be we're supposed to be 12 tribes, but now we're different races, we're different nations. You know, and that shouldn't be. That shouldn't be. That's what Christianity has done to us. Go ahead. Oh, Mr. Shopper, in the building. Mashallah, okay. Most High in Christ. Oh, Mr. Shopper, all right. So I got Gashan, we got Mashallah in the building. And we got Mala Slide with us. All right, Most High in Christ. All right. Cool, but as we say, like Christianity has has divided and conquered blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, right? And when you hear I.S.U.P.K come around since 1969, our job, our mission, rather, has been to collect or to gather blacks and Hispanics and Native Indians under one umbrella under Christ. Okay? So let's talk about that real quick. Let's talk about that. This is what we need. This is some of the work that really has to be done. Okay? This is some of the work that has to be done. Let's go simply real quick to what is an I.S.U.P.K staple scripture. Let's go to Zephaniah 2:1 real quick. Zephaniah 2:1. We can. And Marshall, if you can, if you're stable, can you read for me? No, Morrisar, can you read for me? Okay, no sweat. All my brothers are no sweat. All my brothers are mobile today. So what? Okay, Morrisar, the water, brother, the water.
I had a water. Zephaniah 2:1. Gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together, O nation not desired.
All right, Most High Christ. Okay, we always hear about this. Gather yourself together, O nation not desired. Gather yourselves together. And we always talk about blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are the nation that's not desired. Okay, they're the ones who are not desired. They're the ones who are not necessarily wanted. All right, they're not the ones who are respected or loved. Okay, by their oppressor, by their slave master nations, if you will. All right, but now there is a reason why we tell people that we say that we need to gather together. All right, and we're not talking. When we say gather together, all nations not desired, we're not talking about gathering together for a party or coming together for a funeral, all right, or for some kind of event. Okay, we are talking about gather ourselves together, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, in brotherhood and in righteousness. Come together, man. Let's put away our differences. All right, let's put away our differences, man. We don't need to be fighting each other any longer. Okay, we should not have the Latin Kings fighting against each other. We should not have, what's another game? We should not have the Crips versus the Bloods. We should not have the Vice Lords versus Gangster Disciples. Okay, it's things like that. Okay, that have divided us. All right, we need to stop with the senseless violence against each other. Okay, because all in all, there is a much larger and a much greater enemy. There is a much greater enemy that is ahead of us, man. A much greater enemy that is actually oppressing us. But because of Christianity, we have turned a blind eye to it. Because of Christianity now, we instead of fighting our true enemy, we have made ourselves as brothers and sisters enemies. Okay. But let's continue on. Let's continue reading it. Let's continue reading. Let's go to verse 2.
Now, God. Verse 2. Before the decree went forth, before the day passed as the chaff,
Go ahead.
before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you.
All right.
Before the day of the Lord's anger come upon you.
Absolutely. So before the Most High anger comes upon you, we need to come together. Okay? We need to come together. We need to stop being enemies. We need to be actual brothers and sisters. Okay? Because what does it say? Before the decree comes forth, man. Before the decree comes forth, before the Most High's anger is upon us, brothers and sisters, the Lord's anger is already here. The Lord's anger is already here. That's why we're in this oppression now. Okay? That's why when we hear about so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, their history, like for instance with Negroes, for some reason, their history starts with slavery. The history starts with slavery. Or you'll hear people on the street say, oh yeah, we used to be kings and queens, we used to be pharaohs and whatnot. No. Okay? we need to really come together. So I can put that sidebar, but we need to really come together, man. How we said, stop being enemies against each other, man. We need to stop doing this. Okay, we can even hear it in our music. Even in our music, man, we plot against each other all the time. All right? Our music is talking about how we sell each other drugs. Our music talks about how, what else we do? We sell each other drugs, we kill one another, okay? Our music destroys our relationships. Okay, our music is set to destroy relationships between parents, between spouses, between husband and wife, so-called boyfriend and girlfriend, and even friends. That's what our music has done. But all of that is our schemes and traits of our oppressor. Okay, our oppressor has set this against us. All right. Have you ever noticed in any other nation of music that glorifies the killing of the same people? If you ever take the time to listen to country music and you hear the oppressor's music, his version of that music, you ever hear him talk about how he'll he'll beat up another one of his brothers? Do you ever hear how he'll sell drugs to his sister? No, you don't. You don't hear that. Although we can say that historically, the oppressor is the largest drug dealer on the face of the earth.
Right.
He's the largest drug dealer, but yet you don't hear him selling. You don't hear about him selling drugs. You don't hear about him breaking up relationships. As a matter of fact, he's for relationships in his music. He's for relationships. Even if he breaks up another relationship, he's trying to make one of his own. Someone say Salaki? Yabashim Shakata. Good hearing from you, brother. Come on in and talk to me.
So I got for that what you just said is so heavy, you know what I'm talking about? And I hate those brothers. With passion, you know what I'm talking about? Passion music first off it's a modified form of what we call the blues. You know what I'm saying? And the reason they call it passion music is because we already know the old brothers don't have no type of culture of their own. So they think we bringing something. You know what I'm saying? If you listen to this really it's terrible music, first off. You know what I'm saying? And then, like you said, they're not promoting anything harmful towards their own people.
Right.
Yet still, their white supremacist ways is still felt in their country music because all they're talking to are their own people. They're not expressly making music for any other people but their own.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Fine point. Great point. How you said like they're not causing harmful music. None of their music is harmful towards each other. Okay. Even if when you see funny fail videos, right? And you see how these Karens go against the police. As much as Karen and Steve so-called hates the police, they never kill each other. They never kill each other. They still have some type of love or respect for each other. But we don't have that. We're always enemies against each other, man. And we really have to stop that, man. Also, the part you had something?
Oh yeah, even though, like I said, country music, even though they say the most, what I'm saying, thing about love and all the time, some of them join the military. Right. And they put in a position that would have killed the most people ever. They went around the world, took over lands, killed the most people. And they're gonna sit around and put country music out there about loving each other all the time, about love all the time. But now in the Christian church, now you're trying to get some homosexual pastors in there. Could be most likely be black and Hispanic. They're gonna tell we all gotta love each other, no matter what. It don't matter how many killings. You know what I'm saying? They go up in the church, they go up to a supermarket, and all that. But you breaking the law for being homosexual, having a lust over another man. the Lord tell you not to do. And they pushing that right now, so it's like, and it's very heavy though.
You're right, absolutely right, man. Absolutely right, and that's what we're talking about. Those are the real things that we have to fight against. Those are the real things we have to fight against, man. We don't have to fight. We should not be fighting against our brother for territory. We should not be fighting against our brother because because he stepped on our shoes. You see what I'm saying? I shouldn't have to fight my brother over that. All right? Like we said, man, there is a much larger and a stronger enemy, man. A stronger enemy, man, that we gotta fight against, man. And it's a real spiritual war, man. It's a real spiritual war. It's not physical as we think it is, man. It's not physical, man. Let's go to 2 Corinthians. Let's go to 2 Corinthians 10, verse 3. Because blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians need to understand who the real enemy is and what the real enemy is. All right? Just as we were bringing out, we touched on the so-called split that's going on in the Methodist Church right now. You know what I'm saying? And that is just one small crack to the foundation of Christianity. Okay? This is what we're praying for. This is what we really need to come together so that we can fight against this. All right? As the scripture is saying, gather yourself together. This is why we need to gather ourselves together, man, so that we can fight as one. All right? And fight against our real enemy, man. And be stronger and get respect, man. Build relationships and also build up brotherhood, man. And we can do that. Then we can ask Christ to come down and fight for us, man. Let's get that, man. 2 Corinthians 10 and 3.
2 Corinthians 10 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 4. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal.
All right, hold on. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal. All right, just how we said, when it comes to blacks and Hispanics music, we always hear about fighting. We always hear about pulling out the gat, pulling out the Glock, pull out the AR, the AK. You know what I'm saying? Having 30 in the clip. All right? But our oppressor has weapons that are beyond that. He has weapons that goes beyond the AK, beyond the Glock, man. Our oppressor has weapons that goes that stretches past his atomic bomb. He has weapons that stretches past nuclear warfare, man. Can anybody guess what kind of weapons that our oppressor has that he can use that he uses against us, man? Go ahead, Yahanna, you got.
One weapon I would say he used against us in his prevalence in the South, called white woman, is interracial marriage.
Absolutely, interracial marriage. I like that one. Let's touch on that one real quick. Interracial marriage, which is a very good answer. That is one of his devices that he uses against us. Okay, that's some of the principles. That's some of his devices, man. Some of his strongholds, man. That's part of his warfare. Okay, we've even seen in the scripture. We've gone to scripture before on how we shouldn't give our sons, give our daughters to their families. Why? Because they will take you away from the Most High power, man. They can take your power away. All right. We've seen the story with Samson and Delilah, right? A prime example. And even in modern day times, we've seen how prevalent our athletes were, our entertainers. But what happens? They get with an oppressor, and their career goes in the garbage, man. Has anybody kept up with Tiger Woods' career? Ever since he got with that oppressor and she turned on him, Tiger Woods' career has never been the same. Tiger Tiger Woods is always hurt now, always injured. All right, and it's even a wonder when he actually comes back to play. People are just so amazed that, oh wow, you're going to play now, because they've been looking for him. But look at his career is in the trash, man. Tiger's career is not on top of the world like he used to be. Look at somebody else. Look at O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson, who denied pretty much that he was black. Oh, I'm not black. I'm O.J. And he started dating oppressors. Look what happened to his career. Who's somebody? What's his name? Lamar Odom. Lamar Odom started dating oppressors. Look what happened in his career. They found him where? What was he? They found him in Vegas. They found him in Vegas at a prostitute ranch. Overdosed on coke. This is what can happen to our people, man. And that's even why LeBron James started getting black backlash. Because of his son. His son wanted to take an oppressor for his prom day. Go ahead.
I don't know what you bring out so heavy, you know what I'm saying? And as you talk about it, it made me think about, the scriptures that you read was that for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. You know what I'm saying? That is that's a weapon. It's a tactic, like you said, that's being used against us. And if we continue this route, we're gonna, throw ourselves under the bus by not having enough brothers and sisters, you know what I'm saying, left. And we keep going down that path. And we are already killing ourselves in abortion clinics. At hundreds of thousands in a year. So it makes no sense to, double that down with going and being married onto another nation that doesn't give a damn about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what we're talking about. Coming together, man, but in righteousness. Coming together so we can really fight against our enemy. Okay?
I like that one.
Go ahead.
I just want to make a quick comment on what you said about Lamar Odom.
Go ahead.
He fell in love with them white girls, and he literally overdosed on the white girls.
Get that brother a hand, man. Absolutely he did. Absolutely he did, man. That's what we're talking about. That's exactly what we're talking about, man. What's another weapon? What's another weapon? Who else? Go ahead.
Speaking of which, drugs.
Yes, they're right. Drugs was also put in our community, man. Drugs is another weapon that's being used against us, man. Go ahead, Officer Napash.
Most ultimate weapon that a person use, and not no nuclear weapon, it's not no what it is. Per the drone in this image right here, called God with G-O-D, with guns, oil, and drugs.
That's
This
right.
is the ultimate weapon they use to destroy our community.
Absolutely, absolutely, you're right. You're right. Give that brother a hand, man. That's right. The image, what he was showing, Officer Napash was showing, was the so-called image of Christ, man. So-called image of Christ, man. That is one of the ultimate weapons against our people, man. That's one of the ultimate weapons, man. But that's why we can also say, that's why we talked about like weapons within Christianity as well. Interracial marriage is a weapon that comes from Christianity. Abortions, using drugs, of course, white supremacy, and also what we have, homosexuality. That is a weapon that is destroying blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Especially blacks. Especially blacks, man. That weapon is taking our people out by what? Is it the 100,000s? Also, Posh? Taking our people out by the hundreds of thousands, man, per year. Homosexuality. And the funny thing is, though, the ironic thing is, that's the split. That's the split. Whether homosexuality is actually right according to the Christian church. you know. And the other day, like my rib was speaking with a lady, you know, saying at our former church and whatnot. You know, they just happened to meet up, you know, and the lady is going to become a ordained minister. It's like, for what? But then they started, you know, saying wanting to talk doctrine and everything, talk scripture. And my rib asked her about homosexuality, and to come to find out, the reason why homosexuality is so prevalent in church is because, and get this, they believe that it's more of a suggestion than a commandment. All right. Now hear me clearly. They think that not being homosexual is a suggestion as opposed to an actual commandment. All right. It's a suggestion because it came, and they say and to justify it, they say because it came from a man of God, he was suggesting this as opposed to actually coming from God.
This is like
Go ahead, please.
if I may.
Absolutely.
I got the definition of the word suggestion.
Oh, you know, now you know, I love definitions. I love definitions. Let's get it.
Suggestion.
Uh-huh.
An idea or plan put forward for consideration.
Okay, an idea or plan put forward for consideration. All right, for consideration. Now that is so interesting. Okay, so that's what a suggestion is. An idea or plan put forward for consideration. So, and again, this is how Christianity has destroyed us. All right. Okay. Now we just said how homosexuality through sexual transmitted diseases, okay, is killing our people by the hundreds of thousands per year. But you're only gonna, and when you see those numbers, when you see the research, you see the pictures online of the results, you just want to take not living that lifestyle as a consideration. You're going to take it into consideration. All right, you going to take it into consideration, really? Now we mentioned another. We mentioned what? Another weapon. We mentioned drugs. When you see your people strung out on the streets, losing their minds, you want to take that into consideration to not use drugs anymore, to not shoot coke, to not shoot heroin, to not snort crack, not snort coke. You want to just take into consideration. Let's see, what else? We look at interracial marriage, and you see how brothers are supposed to be so strong and masculine and all about black people, but then they get themselves a cocaine cowgirl, and then all of a sudden you see how their strength just deteriorates right before your eyes. They don't talk as strong anymore. They don't dress strong. They don't act strong. They're weak, and you want to take that into consideration. See, this is what Christianity has done to us. This is what Christianity has done to us, man. You just want to think about it, and at the same time believe that what happened to them can't happen to you. Because what's the cliche? What's the cliche when it comes to Christianity? Oh, if God did it for me, He can do it for you. Why do they only consider that? Why do they only take that for consideration when it comes to blessing them? It's only when it comes to blessing people. God can do it for you, just like He did for me. They never take into consideration like the negative effects. This brother strung out on crack. This brother strung out on heroin. He overdosed. But they never think about, well, God did it for him. He can do the same for me. You see what I'm saying? They never take that into consideration. Christianity is so selfish and self-absorbed, man. And again, Christianity separates you from your brother and your sister, and ultimately separates you from the Most High. Separates you from the Most High, man. Let's continue reading that. Matter of fact, starting verse 4 again. Starting verse 4. Uh-huh.
For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds.
Pulling down of strongholds. Earlier, we mentioned white supremacy. That is a stronghold on blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. That is a stronghold. All right? Homosexuality is a stronghold against blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Drug use is a stronghold against blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Interracial marriage. Abortions. That is another stronghold that is plaguing blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians.
Thank you, sir.
Come on in, talk to me.
Government assistance, child support.
I like that.
Using our own women against us.
Yes, it does. I like that too. Don't worry, we're going to talk about that as well. Very good, very good. Keep reading.
Now God, verse 5, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of God.
All right, hold on, right there. Yahanna, you know I love definitions. Let's look up imagination, please. Let's look up imagination. Who has that? Also the parts. Look up imagination for me, please.
Oh.
Let me get the definition of imagination. All right, because we're trying to go over these scriptures like step by step. Again, trying to help blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians come together under Christ, so they can fight against their real enemy. Fight against the real enemy, man, so that the kingdom of Christ can actually come down to earth. All right, go ahead.
The definition of imagination. The fallacy or action of forming new ideals.
Okay, hold on. The action of forming new ideas. Okay.
Or images or concepts or eternal objects not presented to the senses.
Okay, so or images, concepts. What was the last part?
External objects.
External objects, go ahead.
Not present to the senses.
External objects not present to the senses. Okay, not present to the senses. Okay. I'm sorry. Start at verse 5 again.
Second Corinthians 10 and 5. Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God.
All right, hold on. Casting down imaginations, every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God. Every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God. You know what one imagination is? That does exactly that. Being a transformer. Being a transformer is an imagination. What'd you say, Napash? Imagination? Forming a new idea or new concept, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now, what is our oppressor trying to do? Our oppressor is trying to tell us and convince us that what? There is more than two genders.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He is trying, the oppressor has steadily been trying to play as God. All right? Have been making what? Another new concept. There is more than two genders. What's another concept? Again, with homosexuality. That it's okay. That's an imagination, don't you think? That it's okay for a man to lie down with another man? That it's just a suggestion that you don't? And if it is a suggestion that you don't, and it's coming from the man of God, why wouldn't you follow it? Why wouldn't you follow it? Can anybody answer that? If it comes from the man of God, why would you not follow it in the first place? Because our oppressor has nothing to do with the Most High. It has nothing to do with the Most High. That's why the oppressor took our records. He took our book. He knew the power that was in it. And he steadily uses it against us. He uses our book against us, man. And that's what Blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians have to understand. They have to understand that, man. And that's why we keep saying, come together. But let's come together so that we can fight against our oppressor. We can fight against our oppressor. Take our spirit out of this place. Take our spirit out, man. You don't have to support the oppressor with his holidays. You don't have to support the oppressor in his concepts. You don't have to support that, man. The stereotype of so-called black on black crime, that's not the only crime that exists. You know, other nations kill other nations too. Anybody ever heard of the Yakuza? That's a Japanese style mafia, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
They kill their own kind of people, right? Anybody heard of the Italian mafia? They kill their own. As a matter of fact, they're famous for it. They have celebrities. They got celebrities in the Italian mafia. They have movies that have documented their uprising in America. They're famous for that. But blacks, you're not famous for killing your own. You're more infamous. You're made to be notorious for killing your own. And then what happens? It becomes a trend. It becomes an internet meme, and it becomes a song. And then eventually it becomes a concept that you get used to. And it's a concept that continues to destroy our people. When you hear Rodney King say, "Hey, can't we just all get along?" Black people can't get along with themselves. They can't, because they perpetrate hatred amongst each other. They lack brotherhood, and the church does not encourage brotherhood amongst Blacks, Hispanics, and Asians. It doesn't encourage that at all. You can get together, you can have a party, but with lack of brotherhood, that party will not last. Somebody's going to get shot. Somebody's going to get into a fight. But we in the I.S.U.P.K, we have parties. We have peace. We get together in the spirit of brotherhood. If you saw a Passover, you would have been amazed to see so many blacks from across the country and around the world that came together in righteousness under the Most High, under Christ, and had a glorious time. Now, can the church say that? Can the church say that? Because recently we've been seeing videos on how church folks are fighting each other in the pulpit. We've been seeing videos on how the people, participants in the congregation, have been accusing the pastor of sexual abuse with their children, accuse the pastor of infidelity with their spouses. But yet, people continue to attend church. They continue to attend church because they don't think of the concept of, well, if he did it for me, he can do it for you. They don't consider that in a negative context. Blacks, Hispanics, and Asians have to come together. They have to come together, man, because there is a war amongst us, man. War has been declared. War has been declared, man. All right, and it is a spiritual war. It's a spiritual war against us, man. That's trying to keep us from our Most High power. Continue reading.
And bring it into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ.
Okay. Now bring into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. Now, it's a concept that we've always heard from Christianity about how Christ is so loving, God is so loving. But now, when we see this scripture, bring into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. When Christ comes, Christ is declaring war against these so-called high powers. Christ is declaring war against these high imaginations. All right? The high imaginations that like it. The high knowledge that whitewash Christ, that whitewash the Most High. These concepts that say that it's okay to live an alternative lifestyle. All right? Principles like these, man, these are the kind of principalities that we have to fight against, man. And these are this is also what Christ wants us to fight against. This is what we have to come together. All right? And this is also why our oppressor wants to keep us separated. All right? He doesn't want us to have brotherhood. He doesn't want us to come together. Because if we come together under this knowledge, under this truth, then he knows that his reign will come to an end. Right? But now, once we come together, there's something else that we're going to need that's going to help bring us together, okay? And help us stay together, all right? Our people are going to need correction. People are going to need correction about this, man. All these things, all these weapons that come from Christianity Are people going to need correction to keep them from falling back into these traps? They need correction to keep them from falling to the trap of homosexuality. The correction of the trap of abortions, the trap of interracial marriage, the trap in thinking that white supremacy does not exist. All right? Even the trap when it comes to child support and choosing the wrong kind of woman to be in your life. All of these are traps, man, that are set up by the oppressor, man. But they can be corrected, man. They can all be corrected, man. They can be corrected through these scriptures, man. And with wise counsel, man, from men above us, man. Because this is what our people need as well. Let's start off with Proverbs 3:11. Proverbs 3:11.
Proverbs 3:11. My son, despise not the chastening of the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Neither be weary of his correction.
Okay, let's start off with this. All right. Despise not the chastening of the Most High. All right, and don't be weary of His correction. Okay, a lot of times when we're out on the streets and or even like when we're just having just conversations, we're just dialoguing, and we tell brothers and sisters, man, you shouldn't do this because the scriptures say this. The scriptures say this, and then what happens? People want to start fighting against us. When we're out on the streets and we're saying, we tell like our sisters, hey sis, you don't have to dress like this. You don't have to dress like this. You don't have to act like this. And then suddenly, and then somehow we use so-called trigger words, and all of a sudden they just want to go off, and they only hear the negativity. They don't hear what we're trying. They don't hear what we're trying to say, and they're not trying to see what we're doing. Okay, the fact that we're trying to help, and it's like because of Christianity, like blacks and Hispanics, their opinions, like they don't want help. They don't want help, man. They're so comfortable. They're so comfortable, and with that correction, they also know they have to give up a lot of things that they're used to, and it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. Take for instance, if you remember the Ray Charles movement, when he was addicted to heroin, and when he tried to stop, and his body went through withdrawals. He went through a drought, and it actually was hurting his body because his body was just so used to it. It's like that's what it comes to blacks, Hispanics, Natives. They're so used to their habits, and they feel like it's gonna hurt to give it up. It's gonna hurt to give it up, man. But it's not. It's not gonna hurt to give up drug use. It's not gonna hurt to be an homosexual. Matter of fact, it's better. It's better, man. Because now you can be in the good graces of the Most High, man. And also, you take into consideration the negative effects of it. You can avoid those. You can avoid those consequences, man. You can avoid that, man. But don't be so afraid of correction as well. Don't be afraid of the correction. All right. Let's go to oh no, continue reading, please. Continue reading, Mama Sar. When we're telling our people to not be afraid of the correction, right? Because there's a good reason for correction. When it comes from the Most High, when it comes from Christ, and when it comes to wise men above you, there's a reason for correction as well. Continue reading, Mama Sar.
Verse 12. For whom the Lord loveth, he correcteth.
Read that again.
For whom the Lord loveth, he correcteth.
For whom the Lord loveth, he correcteth. right? For he loves, then he's going to correct you. Okay? If you're ever in the hood and you talking with one of your friends, and let's say like your friend would tell you, hey man, if I ain't talk trash about you, man, I don't love you. Have you heard that before?
Mm-hmm.
If I don't say nothing to you, I don't love you, I don't like you. All right? Sometimes that trash talk is hard, but it's useful. Okay? And sometimes that trash talk is actually correcting something about you. You know, whether your pants are too tight, your shoes are unlaced, you're not coordinated. You know, or even when they talk about how you cook your food, if they didn't really love you, if they didn't like you, they wouldn't say anything about it. But because they do like you, they love you, and some of them have respect for you, they have honor for you, then what will they do? They'll bring it to your attention, right? They'll bring it to your attention. But now, take for instance, let's bring it back with Christianity. The Bible says that you shouldn't live that type of lifestyle. The scripture suggests that you should not listen to that you should not fall into this kind of trap. But now, look at the Christian church and the population of alternative lifestyles. Does it appear that the pastor has said anything to their detriment? Does it look like the pastor has actually spoke against how they're living? No. No, because why? Their population is starting to take over the church. And also, the pastor's not going to say anything. Why, Officer Apostle? Why won't the pastor say anything to these alternative lifestyles?
That's wrong because the job of a Christian pastor is, you know what I'm saying, to get money from you. So anything that makes you feel good on a drug, they will come to the church more, and they want to basically just make money out of the congregation. That's like one of the main reasons why. They know it's against the law of the Most High to be a homosexual, to man to be like a man, like a woman to be a woman. They know that. But as long as I can make you feel good in your pain or suffering, it's like spiritually, you gotta hit that blunt. Spiritually, you might hit a couple of them lines.
All right.
Shoot that heroin up. You know what I'm saying? It's like a spiritual high to them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A spiritual high, man. That's what we're talking about. So to sum it up, what Officer Apostle said, it's not good for business. It's not good for business. And see, and that's what the church is always trying to do. The church is always trying to get their numbers up. They get their numbers up, they get more people to attend, get more money. You get more money. But see, we in I.S.U.P.K. not concerned about your numbers.
Right.
Not concerned about numbers. We're concerned about people getting their lives right for the Most High. That's what we're concerned about. We're concerned about blacks not being each other's enemies. We're concerned about blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians actually being brothers and sisters to one another. Your church is not concerned about that. Your church doesn't even sing about that. Your church only focuses on having that relationship, having a so-called relationship with Christ, and being blessed. That's it. Being blessed and getting what do they call it? Having a breakthrough. That's it. That's it. Having a breakthrough. Being blessed. Every testimony. Oh, I didn't know how I was going to pay my bills, but God did. You even see on Facebook when people all of a sudden people want to be preachers on Facebook. They want to be evangelists and they'll put out a message in the next 2 weeks. God is going to bless you with a large sum of money. If you believe it, type amen.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? This is what we're talking about, man. This is what Christianity does to us, man. Christianity makes our people just so delusional. It's like they believe anything that's positive that can reflect on them. And what we say? If he did it for me, he can do it for you. If he can bless you with money in 2 weeks, he can do the same for me. You know? He can do the same for me. And the ironic thing is, I got a job, you got a job. I got a job, you got a job. That's where our money's gonna come from in the next 2 weeks. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But because people want to be evangelists, they want to be pastors on Facebook. They want to be pastors online. Now it's like, yeah, I should follow them, man. And that's how we get divided. Come on in and talk to me.
That's another point to bring out because I saw a post on Facebook from Captain Kahan, and he was like, your pastor can see prosperity, but he can't see danger.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. They never speak on danger. They never speak on danger. Just like with the COVID-19. You know how many churches were shut down? Their doors were closed because of COVID-19. Now, before, pastors would always want to lay hands on people, so-called heal them. They will call people up. Anybody out there? There's somebody limping. Somebody can't walk. Somebody's in a wheelchair. You in the third row. Is it you? And they want to put their hands on them. Oh, pastor, I can walk again. So-called pastors had so much power, so much spiritual power, right? That they could take their jacket off. They could take their jacket off and hit you with it. And you just go into convulsions. That's what the pastors could do back then. I saw the pastor was saying, you want it? Take it. Take it. And all he did was just waving his hand. Take it. Take it. And people were falling out in the stands. Falling out in the stands. But now, here comes COVID-19, your door's closed. I haven't heard of one pastor healing anybody from COVID-19. Is anybody else? This is what Christianity does to us. Christianity makes our people so delusional. And again, it separates us as a people, and it separates us from the Most High. And this is just some of the correction that we want to give to our people. We want to give. This is just some of the correction, man. Let's see what else. Let's see what else the Bible says. Let's see what else the Bible says. Let's go to Proverbs 15 and 10. Go to Proverbs 15 and 10. Proverbs 15 and 10. Read when you got it.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 15 and verse 10.
Mm-hmm.
Unto him that forsakes the way.
Hold on, say it again.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 15 and verse 10.
Uh-huh.
Correction is grievous unto him that forsakes the way.
Uh-huh.
And he that has reproof shall die.
Okay, so correction is grievous unto him that forsaketh the way, and he that hateth reproof shall die. Right? So correction all of a sudden is grievous to somebody. Okay? Just like when you tell a brother that you tell him, brother, like you don't have to live this kind of lifestyle. Brother, it's not good for you. Then all of a sudden, because of that correction, it becomes so grievous, right? And now, when you want to talk to that brother, what's he going to do next? If you're don't be on the job. Don't be on the job, because if you tell that brother that him having painted fingernails makes him look like a girl, and he knows this, and he knows it's wrong, but he doesn't want to be corrected, and now it's going to be so grievous for him. What's he going to do? He's going to try to make you lose your job, right? Now all of a sudden, he can talk about, oh, all I want is love, all I want is love. When you give him that tough love, now he reciprocates that tough love with hate. All right, and he wants to see you fall. He wants to see you falter. Now he wants you to lose your job. As a matter of fact, he doesn't want anybody to say anything about his lifestyle. Does that make any sense? Does it make any sense? All right. This is just some of the things that living that kind of lifestyle does. And again, I'm going to keep saying it. It separates us as a people. Separates us as a people, and it separates us from the Most High, man. Okay? This is the kind of correction that we need. All right? Because if we don't get this kind of correction, you're going to see life become much worse. Life is going to become much worse, man. And that's what we've been reading in Zephaniah. Come together, gather yourselves together before the Most High renders judgment. Come together, come back to the Most High, man. Come back to Christ, man, before judgment is rendered. Because once judgment is rendered, there's going to be no turn back, and it's going to get much worse. It's going to get much worse. And we're already seeing signs, okay? We're already seeing signs, right? There's more support now for abortion. More support for abortion. Now, what else? Weed, marijuana they can be purchased through dispensaries. They can be purchased through dispensaries, man. You can buy in certain states you can buy marijuana in a vending machine on the corner. All right? You can buy it off the corner, man. But for some reason, the blacks who used to sell it, haven't been released from jail. They haven't been released from jail. It's going to get worse. Our people are dying from AIDS. Our people are dying from diabetes, high cholesterol, heart disease, right? And you keep hearing that, oh, it's hereditary, but this is just bad traditions, bad habits that are being passed down, man. They're being passed down. That's all it is. All right? And again, I.S.U.P.K is here to put an end to that. We're here to put an end to that, man. We're here to gather our people together under Christ so that we can fight against these principalities, man, that are trying to keep us from Christ, man. They're trying to keep us from our ultimate goal. They're actually trying to keep us from the promised land. That's what they're trying to do, man. That's what we're trying to do. Let's go to Isaiah 58 and 1. Let's go to Isaiah 58 and 1. Isaiah 58 and 1, real quick.
Isaiah chapter 58 verse 1.
Uh-huh.
Cry aloud.
What?
Cry aloud.
What?
Cry aloud.
All right.
Cry aloud.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Fear not.
Uh-huh.
Fear not. Lift up thy voice like a trumpet.
Mm-hmm.
Shew my people their transgression, and the house of Jacob their sin.
This is what we're trying to do. This is what we're trying to do, man. We have to cry aloud, man. We have to cry aloud because the sins of our people have continued to be hush hush and taboo. You know, certain sins are just like they're swept under the rug. You know, just how we've been talking about the split when it comes to the Methodist Church because of trying to live an alternative lifestyle. That's splitting the church, but that has been dividing black families for years, for generations, as a matter of fact. Why? Because the uncle wants to molest his nephew, wants to molest his niece, and then what happens? The family knows that the uncle moves like this. They don't really say anything. They sweep it under the rug. They'll just say, "Oh well, we're just not going to keep the kids around him." But they know he's like this. But now, if that uncle or even the aunt got that kind of correction, man, and was told like point blank and in front of everybody that needed to hear it. Hey man, this is who he is, and dude, you need to stop this. You need to stop this. This is not going to be tolerated in this house and in this family any longer. Now, he would have a decision to make. Either he's going to stop his sins, or something very bad is going to happen to him. In that scenario, that is tough love and that is correction. And that kind of correction is not grievous. It's not grievous because that can save you from a lot of pain come down in the future. But our people are just so stiff-necked and hard-headed, and they're afraid to give up their bad habits because they're just so comfortable with them. They've been converted into them. They're so used to them. But we in the I.S.U.P.K, man, are here to stop those habits, man. We're here to stop those sins, man, back to the Most High, so we can fight against the real enemy, man. Fight against the real enemy, bro. This is what we're here for. What's the church here for? Can anybody on the conference call tell me what the church is here for? Can anybody tell me what the church has done? Go ahead. I'll take it. Absolutely. The Christian church has destroyed our people. If you don't get nothing else from this class, know that Christianity has destroyed our people. Christianity has divided our people. Man. That's why we lack brotherhood now. That's why we're so quick to fight each other. Because we lack brotherhood. That's why we're so quick to rob each other. Because we lack brotherhood. A brother will go out on the street and sell drugs to somebody else. Why? Because he needs that bag. He's gonna sell drugs to make money because he has rent to pay. He needs to put food on the table. He's gonna say, "Man, I'm out here selling drugs, man, because I got kids." But you're not thinking about the next man who might have kids as well. You're not thinking about the next man who needs to put food on his table, keep a roof over his head, over his family's head. You're not thinking about that. All you're thinking about is yourself. Again, this is what Christianity has done to us, man. And people see it, but they don't want to see it. They see it, but they don't want to say anything. They don't want to say anything at all, man. They rather and when the I.S.U.P.K wants to come along, then they want to fight against us. But if your pastor says something and you don't agree with, You just let it ride. You won't fight against him at all, man. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 7:5 real quick. Ecclesiastes 7:5.
Book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse 5.
Mm-hmm.
It is better to hear the rebuke of the wise
All right.
than for a man to hear the song of fools.
It's better to hear the rebuke of the wise than the songs of fools. And this is what we're talking about. Your pastors out there are fools. They're fools. Even there, and don't be wrong, there are actually some pastors out there that mean well. They mean well, but they're still ignorant. They're still ignorant to the fact of what these scriptures are really trying to teach us. All right? Even the pastors out there who claim to mean well, they're still under their umbrella of white supremacy. Because that's what Christianity is. Christianity is white supremacy. And for years, they have been taught wrong, man. They have been taught wrong. And they have not been corrected by it, man. They have not been corrected for their actions and for their teachings. Our people just let things ride, man. Just let it ride. Let's go to Jeremiah 2:29. There's a little bit more on this the kind of correction that our people need, man, in order to come back to the Most High and come back to Christ. So they can really be established back in brotherhood, man. We'll go to Jeremiah 2:9, Baba Shaw.
Come on, God, the book of Jeremiah, chapter 2, and verse 29. Wherefore will ye plead with me? Ye all have transgressed against me, saith the Lord.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is the correction. This is that tough love. Okay? Calling out our sins, calling out our mistakes. All right? And put it before us so that we can actually see and be confronted with what we've done. All right? Getting that correction, getting that tough love. Go ahead.
Come on, God. In vain have, verse 30, in vain have I smitten your children.
Uh-huh.
They receive no correction.
They have received no correction. Hold on. Okay, in vain have I smitten your children. They have received no correction. So far, what has been done to us is like it's for nothing. The slavery that our people went through, it's been for nothing. The violence that our people have been through, as a sign to the Most High, from the Most High, to bring us back. What we've gone through so far is like it's been for nothing. Okay, because we still have not turned back to the Most High. We still haven't turned back to Christ. Continue on.
Your own sword hath devoured your flock.
Uh-huh.
Like a destroying lion.
Like a destroying lion, man. That is what Christianity has done. Christianity has tried to take away the people who are actually bringing you the truth. Actually bringing you the truth, man. And you want to take a sword to them, man. You want to fight against them. We in the I.S.U.P.K, man, we're not going anywhere. You understand? Because our job is to bring out this truth. Our job is to bring our people back together under Christ and under the Most High, man. That's our job, man. So we can fight against the real enemy, man. Stop fighting amongst ourselves. Go ahead.
You know how it's like I want to made so heavy that you bring it up right now, and what a lot of Christians fail to realize, you got multiple lives, but it's only one truth.
Absolutely, I like that. I like that. Multiple lives, man, but one truth. That's right. That's right. That's what I'm talking about, man. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Let's go to 2 Timothy, man. Let's go to 2 Timothy real quick. 3 and 16. Again, man, this is what our people need, man. This is what our people need, and watch what continues on in the news, man. Watch what continues on in the news. Virtually everything that's put out in the news, man, is trying to keep you. It's trying to separate you. You see how in the news what happens. You always see about how the black man robbing somebody, the black man killing somebody. You see his face up there too. But when somebody else gets killed, there's a different kind of perpetrator. They won't show his face at first. And they're gonna show his face at first, and they're gonna try to keep him protected. All right, they're gonna try to keep his face protected. As a matter of fact, if they do show his face, does anybody remember the oppressor who strangled a girl in college? I think he went to Stanford. Does anybody remember that story? Those sweat.
Did he do that like at a pool party or something?
I think he met at a pool party, and then.
Or he was he was like a pool star or something. I forgot what you call it. Like, you know how they got.
Yeah, he was an athlete. Yes, he was an athlete. I forgot his sport. But I think they say he strangled her in a back alley. He was on. I think he was either on drugs or something like that. Somebody was inebriated, but that dude killed her. He strangled her and he raped her. Right? Tried to choke her to death and raped her. And you know what they did? They gave him a very light sentence because the judge said, "Oh, he has so much potential. He has so much potential." And they would not even show his mugshot. Instead, they showed his prestigious college picture. That's what they do. That's what they'll do. But when it comes to you, they instantly show your mugshot. And they'll go through your history and try to find pictures of you with paraphernalia, with drug paraphernalia. So have you pictures holding guns up and whatnot. Go ahead.
What you just brought out is so heavy, you know what I'm saying? Because I see that a lot, you know what I'm saying? And our people, you know what I'm saying, because of Stockholm syndrome and being brainwashed by the oppressor, don't realize the tactics of warfare that they're using when they do that. They'll demonize us, and they'll make the oppressor look like some type of angel or saint when after they have done this crime or whatever crime they committed. You know, it's always that good, it's the good guy that was in a bad situation. And when it comes to our people, it's the bad guy always born bad. You know, from the womb he was bad. You know what I'm saying?
There you go. That's right, man. That's right. That's what we're talking about, man. We really have to create. We have to really correct that. We have to correct that behavior in our people, because we don't want our people to give the oppressor a license to do what he does. Whenever the oppressor does something to us, whenever the oppressor does something bad to us, he always relates back to what we do to each other. He always does that. He always reverts back to, well, what about black on black crime? Did you see in the news? It was on Fox News. And I think it was a senator, and he was talking about the music that blacks put out. Talking about the music that blacks put out. He said, "Man, have you heard their music?" It was some senator, I think from Texas or Tennessee. Some oppressor though. Talked about how in our music is just so violent. So violent against each other. But at the same time, this is what the oppressor propagates. All right, this is what he promotes. This is what he tells us to promote. This is actually what the oppressor pays our people to do. He pays them to do this. And then when our people want to try to live out those lyrics, here comes the oppressor, tricking us every time. Come on in and talk to me.
Yeah, what you just said is so heavy. You know, it makes me think about this documentary I was watching about the music industry and how people have, you know, taken the music to make people do what they want to do as almost as like a hypnotist would do. And what I found out in the documentary is that it started with the rock and roll music and how they would use the rock and roll music to change the minds of the youth. And once they did that for the oppressor, they switched it over from the rock and roll, even though they still do the subliminals in the rock and roll, they put those same messages that they did then into the hip hop music now. And it has us doing the debaucheries of the world and emulating the oppressor, doing everything evil that the most out there to stay away from.
No, absolutely, absolutely. I think I've seen a documentary before. I know it might have been a different one that you're talking about, because one I saw, they talked about how the oppressor's kids were killing themselves. Suicide was like skyrocketing in the music because of the music. So then that's when they decided to change it, and they wanted to try to put it on black Hispanics. Go ahead.
What you just said is so heavy. It's numerous documentaries about the subject, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And another documentary I had seen, you know, the scripture talks about not dealing with witchcraft of the world and the reading of the tarot cards. Everything is wicked, you know what I'm saying, dealing with witchcraft.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the music is witchcraft because of the people that are behind it, you know what I'm saying? Like you brought up earlier, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but spiritual, you know what I'm saying? Just like our weapons are spiritual through the Most High in Christ, the oppressor, you know what I'm saying, being a child of Lucifer and the worker of Satan, you know what I'm saying? He also has a doctrine and a set of priests that got to do wickedness on the earth, do evil on the earth, and they use the entertainment through the music, through the sports, through the media, movies and all that.
Mm-hmm.
They use that to try to, you know, get us to what we do right now, and what we see every day is black on black crime and killing one another. It's exactly like warfare.
That's right. Absolutely, absolutely. So just like how he brought out another weapon, the music industry. All of these, along with the music industry, homosexuality, interracial marriage, abortions, even drugs. Your oppressor knows that it's a spiritual warfare. He knows it's spiritual warfare as well. Because if it was just physical, your oppressor would come to your neighborhood and just killed you off. At least he would have tried. Why hasn't he? Your oppressor's the one who got the guns. He has the weapons, but he doesn't come into your neighborhood just outright declaring war. That's what we talked about in class before. Like the police know where the gangs are. The police know where the Crips are, where the Bloods are, where the gangster disciples, vice lords, what else? Latin Kings, MS-13. They know where they are, but they don't declare war on them. They don't just come in and bust them with guns like that. They don't do that. Instead, they're going to wait. They're going to set stuff up. They set stuff up. As a matter of fact, what they'll do is they'll pit you against each other and then let you kill yourselves. It's a spirit. It's spiritual. The warfare against our people is spiritual. Come on in and talk to me.
What you just said made me think about Native Americans, probably I'd say 300 years ago in this area right here in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
The Native Americans back in the late 1700s, when the colonizers made their way into this area, what they did was they banded together and they were, you know, going to war with the oppressors. They knew who their enemy was because they heard stories coming from the
Oh no, absolutely, absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up too, because how you said those Native Indians, they were taught, they were taught about the history. They were taught about the history. They saw some of the correction back then. They saw it, and the history was passed down. It was passed down to them. So when the enemy comes, they'll be prepared. And that's also what our people need. Not only do they need that correction, they need to be taught as well. They need to be taught as well, man. Let's go to Deuteronomy 32 and 7. Deuteronomy 32 and 7, man. They need to be taught. Matter of fact, let's go to Deuteronomy 6. Let's go to Deuteronomy 6 first. Verse 6. Verse 6. Our people need to be taught as well. Not to just be corrected. Told, hey, you're doing wrong. Brother, you gotta stop this. Sister, you gotta stop that. All right? But let's teach them as well. Teach them. All right? Talk to me.
What was that first thing you want?
Let's go to Deuteronomy 6 and 6.
What book and chapter? Deuteronomy 7 and
6 and 6.
Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 6. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 7. And thou shalt teach them diligently.
Do what?
To thy children. Thou shalt teach them diligently. Unto thy children.
Mm-hmm. This is what we have to do. Hold on. This is what we got to do. We have to teach diligently. Okay? Our people today are lost. All right. We always hear about the one of the most famous verses in church. One of the most famous verses in the Bible. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. All right. This is it right here. This is talking about it. This is why our people are destroyed. This is why our people are lost, because they have not been taught diligently. They have not been taught correctly. All right. Our people have been taught that Christ has been, that it's okay for Christ to be whitewashed. That's what our people have been taught. Okay? Our people have also been taught that the law is done away with. Our people are taught that everybody can be saved. Our people are taught that this book is for everybody. Our people are even taught that you can't be perfect. Okay? But if our people were really taught the scriptures, as I.S.U.P.K, Israelite School Universal Practical Knowledge does, then our people would have that knowledge. Then our people they would have that knowledge, they would be corrected, and they could fight against the enemy. But because they lack that knowledge, they can't fight, because they don't know who to fight against. Continue reading.
And will come and S.H.A.L.A.M. sittest in thine house. And when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up.
When thou risest up. So I brought this scripture out before. Doesn't it sound like this is an everyday thing? It's an everyday thing. These scriptures should be in your heart. These laws should be in your heart. All right? Christians are always famous or infamous for being about God one day a week. They were always made fun of for going to the club on Saturday, then going to church on Sunday. And as soon as church is over, you're popping that cigarette. As soon as church is over, you're playing your rap music and whatnot. You're playing whatever music, and not you worry about God anymore. I know I did it. Whenever church was going on, all I listened to was gospel. And as soon as church was over, I'm listening to everything else. I'm not even worried about that. Because as Officer Nafar said, the high is gone now. I'm not on that spiritual high anymore. I'm not worried about it. But here, according to the scriptures, it's not even about a spiritual high. It's not about a spiritual high, man. It's about just doing what's right. It's about doing what's right, man. We read scriptures earlier about how correction is not grievous. The Most High's laws are not grievous. So how looking at this throughout the house. By the way, when that lies down, when that rises up, everything. It's an everyday thing. So it shouldn't be a problem to not eat shrimp, crab, and lobster. It shouldn't be a problem for you. Right? It shouldn't be a problem. Robbing your brother, that shouldn't be a problem. Hating your brother, that shouldn't be a problem. Because the scriptures say so. But where our people are not taught that. People aren't taught that, man. Continue reading.
Verse 8. Thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thy hand, and they shall be as frontness between thine eyes.
Be as frontness between thine eyes. Keeping these laws should be in your mind all the time. All the time. It should be a way of life. It should be a way of life. Keeping the law should be a way of life. Loving your brother should be a way of life. When I even out in the world, when I'm talking to a brother, I address him as brother. Hey, how you doing, brother? My bad, brother. And because I talk like that to him, he can talk like that to me, right? Like if there's any kind of conversation we have and whatnot, that just those words alone can diffuse that. But our people aren't taught that. Our people are taught to meet that energy with the same energy. As a matter of fact, meet it with more energy. Don't let them disrespect you like that. Don't let them talk to you like that. We're always taught to fight against our brother, fight against our sister. That's why we have so many. That's why we have so many conversations. That's why we have so many fights now. Because we have not been taught correctly. When it comes to the sisters can be asked, ladies, what happened to your relationship? Without blaming it on the man, what happened to your relationship? They can't say anything. Because guess what? Sisters, well, a lot of sisters in today's time have not been taught to take accountability for their own actions. Sisters today always have been taught that they are queens that walk among the earth. You know, they're taught that they are supposed to be waiting on hand and foot. Who taught them that? Where did they learn that? Who raised them? Christianity did. Christianity tells them that if they're not happy, that they can leave. Look at Steve Harvey's daughter, Lori Harvey. You see how many pictures he has with guys? Come on, I know somebody was waiting for it. Come on.
So you know what I'm talking about? When I seen that right there, you know what I'm saying? That picture that you talking about right there, you bring it out. Lori Harvey, you know what I'm talking about? The first thing I thought about was Fly. Fly made this song called Ran Off from the Flood Twice. You know what I'm saying? In that song, he said, you know what I'm saying, call her ran to. You know what I'm saying? That's what she is. She is ran to.
That's right.
I seen the football team. I think I seen the football team with her. You know, when I seen all that, and the Most High said, do not let your daughters be whores and your sons be sodomites. You know, that's right. Paraphrasing. And that's what he's gonna change up. right.
No, you're absolutely right.
Right, that one.
Come on in. I hear a new voice. Who's this?
Now, this also my shop.
Oh, come on. What you got to say? Talk to me.
Nah, he, obviously, how that was a heavy point. Because Steve Harvey, Lord Harvey, all Steve Harvey do is talk about a woman should think like a man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's all she do is think like a man.
Mm-hmm.
He's putting that in her. You teaching your children the wrong thing. You know what I'm saying? So
Oh, no.
women doing that same thing.
That's right. That's right. That's what we're talking about, man. That's what we're talking about. Getting that correction and being taught the right way. Being taught the right way. Marshall just brought an excellent point on how he always wants to counsel couples, tell ladies what they're doing wrong in their lives so they can get a man and keep a man. But what have you taught your daughter? What have you taught your daughter? Have you corrected your daughter's actions? Have you corrected her behavior? Telling her, hey, sweetheart, hey, you need to stop. You need to stop this. Yeah, for one, you make yourself look bad and you making me look bad. I did not raise you to be like this. I did not raise you to be like this, man. To not be a respectable woman. What are you doing? He's not correcting this behavior. Talk to me. Go ahead.
The one on hip hop, you know what I'm saying? What you just brought out is so heavy. You make me think about she doing exactly what her dad did. Her dad, you know what I'm saying, left one woman for another woman that had a little bit more than the last woman and maybe it looked a little better. And did it again. He did that twice with 3 different women. And then the last woman he went and gave an ex-drug dealer's woman, you know what I'm saying? So she's only doing what she see her dad do, you know what I'm saying? Jump from person to person to person to person, you know what I'm saying? And be disrespectful and very disrespectful in how he do it. A lot of times the women he going to get belong to somebody else, you know what I'm saying? So then you know, it's like the black thousand tell black, you know what I'm saying? He ain't no condition to tell nobody anything about how to be right in a relationship with life.
Boy, that was heavy right there. Oh, wow, brother. Hey, boy, man, I think you about to cut me too with that, man. I didn't know all that. Oh, my God. Like, he used to do the same thing. He was taking women out of relationships. See, this is what we're talking about, man. No brotherhood in the Christian church. Oh, talk to me. Come on in.
You know, the real heavy point is I don't want him to just go out. You know what I mean? Steve Harvey was married like 3 times. He got divorced 3 times.
Yeah.
And you know, he got a book. You know, he got a book called Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man.
Mm-hmm.
You know how to stay with a woman. You know what I'm saying? And if I may, you know, that shooter who killed those folks in the hospital, they're like 30 seconds after he did it, he said, oh, by the way, he was a black man.
Mm-hmm.
So like, damn, you know, you're right there, the devil, so it's the rock.
No, you're absolutely right, man. Absolutely right. This is what we're talking about, man. So there's so much separation and division amongst our people, man. There's no sense of brotherhood, man. No sense of brotherhood, man. The brotherhood between blacks, Hispanics, and Indians is so bad that our people run to the oppressor. They run to the oppressor, man. They'll think that he's better. They'll think that his covert or invert racism is better, okay, compared to the love or the hate that comes from his own people, right? That's why you even hear the cliches. Sometimes your own people. It's always your own people, you know. And that's what I'm saying, man. And we're here, man. We gotta put a stop to that, man. We gotta put a stop to that, man. We have to bring blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians back together, man, under Christ, man. You heard us earlier, man, talk about, I think last week you heard us talk about having that good name, man. But blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians have lost their reputation, man. We don't have a good reputation on the earth anymore, man. Like nobody respects us anymore because we're always divided. We're always separate and fighting amongst each other, man. You saw how like a few months ago or almost almost a year ago, how the oppressor that went on a killing spree at different massage parlors. He went on a killing spree, man, and he killed 7 different people. And within weeks' time, the whole Asian community, not just the Koreans, it was the Koreans that were killed, right? It's usually the Koreans that had the massage parlors, either the Koreans or the Vietnamese. But the whole Asian community was given a stop hate crime bill. The whole Asian community. All right? And that's including Japanese, Chinese, Taiwanese, and don't forget now, all these different nieces don't like each other. They do not like each other. The Japanese do not get along with the Chinese at all. As a matter of fact, the Japanese feel that they believe that they are the superior when it comes to the Asian race. And they look down on Chinese, Vietnamese, Taiwanese, Laotian, Filipinos, Indonesian. They look down on all of them. But conglomerately, collectively, they got a Stop Hate Asian Crime bill. Now, what did our people get when that person went to a grocery store and shot 10 of our people? What did our people get? Pastors that said, "All we need are hugs. All we need are hugs." That's your respect. That's your respect. When war is declared on you, you get a hug. If anybody remember a verse from Lil Wayne, and he talked about when Hurricane Katrina hit his home, and he said all he got in return was a darn country song. That's what he got in return. That's what his people got. They got songs. They didn't get help, they got songs. Celebrities want to start singing songs to help them out. What's a song gonna do? What's a song? Seriously, what is a song going to do, man? That is the respect our people get. Because they're only seen as entertainers. They're only seen as puppets. They're seen as slaves. And sometimes they're even seen as lesser than animals. That's why animals get treated better. You see how it's illegal for dog fighting. Dog fighting is illegal, right? That's what they told Michael Vick. That's what they told him. But people fighting is just, it's the rave. You see what I'm saying? Like, our people don't get that kind of respect because they don't move as a unit. They're not together. Our people are so divided, man. And because our people lack brotherhood, we are not going to get that kind of respect, man, that we deserve on this earth. Officer the Parks, come on in.
Yeah, John, you said like people find it illegal in dog fighting. You know, bad part about it that you got it all on YouTube that the backyard street fights, MMA fights, it's all unsanctioned. That's illegal. But guess what? It get millions of views and videos never get taken down, nobody never get arrested for it.
That's right.
But somebody fights dogs, well, you go to jail for 10 years and
That's right.
you're locked up for 10 years.
That's right, man. That's what we're talking about, man. That's what we're talking about. Like, you have to understand, you're not going to get that kind of respect. You're not going to be equal with your person, man. You're not going to be equal with your person. Because for one, the oppressor, as much as he fights against each other and fights amongst himself, when it comes to you, when it comes to his enemy, he's going to come together. He will come together. Haven't you seen how you got Russia and Ukraine fighting against each other? Now, America's at odds with Russia, but they still help. Ukraine can literally walk into America. But now, what can Haiti do? What can Mexico do? Nothing. Mexico tries to run from its own oppressors, and America shuts them out. Haiti tries to run from its own oppressors, and America shuts them out. But now Ukraine wants to run from its oppressors, and America lets them walk right in. That's Christianity. Talk to me.
So like, if I mean, what you just said is so different. The oppressor, you know what I'm saying, he works for himself, but at the same time, we need to learn how to work for ourselves. If we took a page out of the Haitian and Mexican Revolution book, you know what I'm saying, we'll be able to, you know, do the same thing that they did and get our freedom. Like,
Oh no, you're absolutely right, man. Absolutely right, man. That's what we're talking about, man. That's what we're talking about with this correction, man. But our people have to be taught this as well. They have to be taught this, man. Our people are not being taught these scriptures, our actual traditions, our real traditions, are not being taught to us. Our real traditions are not being passed down, man. They're being lost, man. They're being lost. Let's go to Deuteronomy 32 and 7. Deuteronomy 32 and 7. Like, we have to make sure that we have to make sure that we know the stories, man. Know the stories, man. Know what really happened in the past, man. Because that is what can shape our future. That's what can shape our future, man. A snake is never going to change its ways. A snake is never going to change its ways, as no matter how much you think you can domesticate them. A snake is never going to change its ways. A snake is always a predator at heart, man. It's going to be a predator at heart. A snake, if it can't bite you, another snake's weapon is to strangle you, man. Snakes are trying to kill you, man, and you cannot domesticate snakes. And that's what we have to learn when it comes to our oppressor. You can't our oppressor is not one to be domesticated. Our oppressor is not one to be trusted. And history shows that. History shows that, man. And we can just add, if we went to our older family members and asked them and had them really tell us the stories, then we could really formulate a plan, man. We can understand what's really going on. And at the same time, our family members should not be ashamed to tell what happened, man. Because unfortunately, they had no choice. They had no choice, man. They fought after the wrong people. Well, that was the choice. They fought after the wrong people. But now, you can make it right. You can make it right, man. A lot of people understood. A lot of people realized that following Martin Luther King was not the right thing to do. A lot of people understood that following Malcolm X was not the right thing to do. But you can tell the next generation that, man. You can tell the next generation, hey, man, don't trust these people, man. Don't trust these so-called leaders, man. Don't trust your oppressors, man. Pass that down, man, and pass it down the wrong, man. Let's go to 7.
Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 7. Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations.
Yes.
Thy father, and he will shoot thee.
Consider the years of many generations, man. Many generations. That's why we're just now finding out about Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Black Wall Street. That's why we're just finding out about prevalent towns across the U.S. like Rosewood, and how Philly really was, and Atlanta. We're just now finding these out, man. We're just now finding out the inheritance that we had, the prominence that we had, man. And now, what if we do that coming up? What if we knew that, man? We could have something to hold on to, and have something to look forward to, man. It's something else to pass down. But again, man, our people are lost and destroyed, man. Our people don't have a history when it comes to America. Because all they know is slavery. That's all they know. And then what happens? Because those are the only stories that are passed down. Then as blacks grow up, that's all they know. That's what they get used to. And then they get desensitized. That's why we brought out, we talked about the Buffalo murders. What happens? Blacks weren't mad. They weren't mad at all. They just said, you get used to it. You get used to it. That's why those, unfortunately, a lot of those families lost their children in Texas. Because they're just so used to the oppressor having his way. And only a few fought back to get their children. And yet the oppressor sat there and let your family die. You get used to it. These stories about the oppressor have not been passed down, man. What's passed down is thinking that the oppressor can love you. The oppressor will respect you. One day. One day you're gonna overcome. You just gotta keep loving him. Keep loving him. He'll have a change of heart. That's what's being passed down to us. Believing that you're also African. That's what's being passed down to you. And thinking that Africans really like you when they can't stand you. They only want you for your money. That's it. That's the only thing you're good for to them. You are merchandise, man. That's what's being passed down. These are the stories that are passed down, man. These are the traditions that are passed down. Not these scriptures. Not the stories of old. Not the traditions, but the imaginations of our oppressor. The new concepts of our oppressor, man, that he uses to keep us divided as a nation. And it keeps us fighting our brothers and sisters, man. That's what's being passed down to us. It's like nowadays, people don't even know why they join gangs. They just do it. Well, my father was blood. My uncle was a Crip. I'm gonna do it too. You see what I'm saying? And the people don't even know why they're fighting. They just do it. That's what we're talking about, man. That's what we're here for, man. We are here to correct that behavior, man. And teach the true traditions, man. Teach what blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians need to know, man, to get out of this oppression, man. Teach them who their real enemy is, man. So they can come back together, man, under Christ, man. And Christ can rule. And they can get out of oppression, man. I'm tired of our people being second-class citizens in America, man. I'm tired of seeing my people getting shot. I'm tired of seeing my people on drugs. I'm tired of seeing my people fight against each other, man. I'm sick and tired of it. And as a so-called Christian, you should be too. For any Christians that are watching, you should be sick and tired of that, man. But understand that it's not going to stop until we follow after these scriptures, man. Until we gather ourselves together and come back in righteousness under Christ and under the Most High, man. Come together, man, in the spirit of brotherhood, man. Follow after these scriptures, man. Follow after them, man. Let's get one last scripture, man, before we get out of here, man. Let's go to 2 Timothy, man. Chapter 3, verse 16, man. 2 Timothy, chapter 3, verse 16.
Oh, God. Book of 2 Timothy, chapter 3, verse 16.
Mm-hmm.
All scripture is given by inspiration from the Most High.
All right. So,
and it is profitable for doctrine.
yes. Okay, hold on. Well, hold on, real quick. My apologies. Let me get there with you real quick. Get there with you real quick. That was my fault. There we go. Yeah, pull that out real quick. All right, go ahead again. Slack you.
The book of 2 Timothy, chapter 3, verse 16. All scripture
Okay, real quick. This is something that needs to be taught. All scripture is given by inspiration of the Most High. All right. You think you be hearing people who don't believe in God, don't believe in the Bible. They say, oh, it's a man-made book. It's a man-made book. Man wrote it. Man wrote it. Why should you follow it? But yet you follow after instruction manuals.
Mm-hmm.
You follow after instruction manuals. Yet you read math books. All right. All these scriptures is inspired by God. Yes, man wrote it, but it was inspired by God. All right. The prophets wrote these. The prophets wrote these stories, and the prophets wrote these stories, this history to pass down, man, to future generations. Somebody say it's a lock in real quick. All right, no sweat. Keep reading.
God, and is profitable for doctrine,
Mm-hmm.
for reproof, for correction.
Okay, so it's profitable for doctrine, man. Profitable for doctrine. This is something that should be taught. It's good to teach this. It's good to teach these scriptures, man. And it's profitable in what? For reproof and for correction. This is what these scriptures are for, man. To correct and modify our behavior, man. So we can be in the good graces of the Most High. Keep us on the right path, man. Keep us on the right path, man. Keep us in good favor for the Most High. Aren't you tired of being punished? Aren't you tired of these judgments? This is what these scriptures are for, man. This is what the law was for, man, to keep us from those punishments. Talk to me, someone. Go ahead.
Concept of violence by faith.
Mm-hmm.
Having points as class by faith. Just to expound on, being on the right path. Thank the most powerful I.S.U.P.K, because we know how to make that right choice and choose to make. You know what I mean? Because we're talking about Lori Harvey, one of her players was NBA young boy. She got arrested because she attacked a woman, cut her up with a knife, and then 3 months later, he left her for another fraud. And he got locked up, by the FBI on a car chase.
Mm-hmm.
And then 6 months later, he got locked up having 30, I think it was 16 guns, AKs and whatnot. You know what I mean? So, you're pressing the bottom line.
See, that's what we're talking about, man. That's what we're talking about. Like, who was there to help correct his behavior? Who was him? Who was there to tell him that, brother, you cannot be an arms dealer, brother, man. You don't need to be with this woman right here, man. Who was there for him, man? That's what we're talking about, man. This is what the I.S.U.P.K, the Israelite School Universal Practical Knowledge, under Commander General Yahanna, man. We're here to teach blacks and Hispanics and Native Indians, man, the truth of this Bible in its true purpose, man. To modify our behavior, man. Keep us on the right track, man, with the Most High. Keep us in His good graces, man. Keep us on the right path, man. And also, these scriptures are to put us and keep us in rulership of this earth, man, in righteousness, man. You see how the oppressor rule this earth, man. There is nothing righteous about him. Nothing righteous about him at all, man. He's been using homosexuality. He's been using drugs. He's been using our own music against us. Come on, man. This is the same person that tells you you need to love everybody is the same person, the same one who's killing you now because he hates you. That's what our people need to be taught. Our people aren't taught that, man. Our people aren't taught that they actually have an enemy, man. That the oppressor is their enemy, man. They're not taught that at all. Keep reading.
For instruction in righteousness.
That's right.
Verse 17. That the man of the Most High may be perfect.
Be what?
That the man of the Most High may be perfect.
That he may be perfect. See, this is something else that the Christian church does not teach you. The Christian church teaches you that you can't be perfect. They said it's impossible to follow God's laws. It's impossible to be perfect. Nobody can ever describe or define or tell me what it actually means to be perfect. They can never say that. But here, the scriptures say what these scriptures are for. This Bible here is to help you be perfect before the Most High. And pretty much to be perfect, according to the Most High, is to follow the law, statutes, and commandments. That's it. That's it. You can be perfect, man. You don't have to keep coming up short, man. You Christians want to say you're more than a conqueror, but for some reason they can't be perfect. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. They always want to say, I'm more than a conqueror. I'm more than a conqueror. But for some reason, you can't conquer not following the law, statutes, and commandments. As often Gashan will say, make it make sense. Make it make sense. Man. Talk to me.
When you say they are more than conquerors, when the Christians quote that, you know what I'm saying? When they conquer something, they conquer their homosexual tendencies, you know what I'm saying? That's all they conquer. They love the world. You know what I'm talking about? They only want to feel, they only want to feel what makes them, they only want that feeling that makes them feel good. They don't really want that correction that the I.S.U.P.K gives. Even though they scream they love Christ and they love the Most High. They really don't love the Most High in Christ, and they don't want the correction of the Most High in Christ.
That's right, man. That's right. That's what we're talking about, man. That's what we're talking about. Read that scripture again real quick. Officer Margiela, take it from the top.
Book of 2 Timothy, chapter 3, verse 16, or 17.
16. Let's start at 16. Go ahead.
Verse 16. All scripture is given by inspiration of the Most High.
Right.
And it's profitable for doctrine.
Mm-hmm.
For reproof, for correction.
That's right, correction. That's what we've been talking about all class. We've been talking about all class, man. All class. Getting that correction, man. This is the work we have to do. This is the work. We have to correct our people, man. Correct our people so that we can fight against the true enemy. All right? Keep reading.
For instruction in righteousness.
Uh-huh.
That a man of the Most High may be perfect.
That's right.
Thoroughly furnished unto all good works.
Unto all good works. Unto all good works, man. Be perfect. Thoroughly furnished unto all good works. It's good. It is good work to get your brother off of drugs. That's doing good work. That's doing good work. When you can stop your sister from being a stripper, stop her from living an alternative lifestyle. Stop your brother from wanting to change his gender, man. That is doing good work. That's doing good work. And also, when you can stop your brother from wanting to kill his brother, man. When you can stop your sister from wanting to harm her sister, man. When you can bring them together, when you can bring blacks, Hispanics, and them Indians together, man, that is good work, according to the Most High. And that is brotherhood, man. And that's what we're here for, man, trying to do that, man. Bring blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians back together under Christ, under the Most High, to fight against the oppressor in righteousness and in brotherhood so they can rule this earth in righteousness. All right? And with that, we'll pass the class off to preaching officer, Napash Kaya.
This is the I.S.U.K security announcements. With the I.S.U.K star 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Room for a new brother or sister. When a new brother or sister comes to the school, they are living for 6 months. They are here to be saluted only. They are here to set themselves over the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes was a commandment in the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21, and the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 8 through 10. My I.S.U.P.K, that means 10 in the Hebrew. 10 said, every penny of increase the Lord gives you the treasury department of teacher. Priest fund, free will for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you like to give. The next whole convocation is going to be a closing of the feast of the first fruits coming up this Sunday. 7 o'clock sundown. Remind Akim and walking in to check the bulletin board in the hallway. If any brother wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black, boots, shirt, pant, headband, and a scarf. And make sure you give the address every time you are headed to the school. The address is 3353 Willow Road, Decatur, Georgia. It's the Israelite School University Prep for Knowledge. With that, give one curse salute to the teacher. Me Israel, a minus a bot, a mic, a rock. Yahweh Shem Yahshua
Yahweh Shem Yahshua.
I said to you, Lashma Kadash, may the Most High in the name of Christ bless you. Y'all didn't talk me hands down. Get some curse salute to the sisters online. Me Israel, a minus a bot, a mic, a rock.
Yahweh Shema Elotham B'Hashem Yahushua.
Well, I said to you, in Allah Kadash, may the Most High watch over you in the name of Christ. Y'all on the top, me hands down, Christ bless.